Edith and I are thrilled to have a conversation with Yolanda Seals-Coffield, Chief People and Inclusion Officer at PwC. We have had the pleasure of knowing Yolanda for several years now, but also have gotten the chance to get to know you more closely in your current role. We are also joined today by my co-founder and mother, Edith Cooper, who spent 30 plus years in financial services, including 10 years leading human capital management at Goldman Sachs. It has been incredibly exciting and inspiring to see and learn how PwC has really embraced AI transformation. And so we are thrilled to dive into your personal journey, your professional journey, and of course, the incredible transformation that PwC has undergone and is undergoing as it relates to AI.
Thank you so much. It is so great to be here with both of you.
I think we could all find all of the details of your extraordinary career, and I'm going to get to that. But before we do that, I really want to spend a little bit time giving you an opportunity to tell the story that you'd like to be told. Where'd you grow up? Did you envision working in the fields that you've ended up in? Tell us your story.
Sure. No, I'm happy to. And first of all, Jordan and Edith, thank you so much for having me. It's an incredible time and an important time to have this conversation. So I love spending time on this space. I grew up in Connecticut. I am a child who is the first generation to go to college in my family. My brother and I were raised by a single mother, and so I have this very close sense of family. I grew up with 32 first cousins.
What?
And I grew up in one of those families where it was
Can you still name them all?
Oh my gosh, no. And certainly not in order. But I certainly understood what it was like to have Sunday at grandma's house with all these cousins. And I always say, when I think about growing up, I heard people talk about work because everyone had jobs, and I heard people talk about coworkers. And intrinsically, you would hear people talk about their experience at work. People either liked their jobs or didn't like their jobs because of the people they worked with, because of the bosses that they had. And so I've always had this appreciation that there is this unique relationship that people have with work that isn't just about feeding their families, but it's also had such a personal and dynamic impact on them because that's where they spent so much of their time. I went to Howard University, super proud Howard grad, majored in political science, and then went straight to law school. So law school was always my path. And I spent my first 25 years as an employment lawyer, and we'll talk a little bit about that, working really closely with human capital functions, both as an outside lawyer and then as a corporate lawyer, and then transitioned into human capital about 5 years ago. I'm most proud of my girls. I've raised two lovely ladies who are on their way to being incredible, dynamic women. One of them has graduated college. The other is a sophomore in college. And so my husband and I are experiencing life as empty nesters, very far off for you, Jordan, but certainly Edith can appreciate. And so really starting to enjoy this second act in life.
Well, there's so many things that you shared that are super important. And I want to take a minute to just, highlight them. First of all, your life is not about your job. It's important to you.
It is.
It's something that you've invested a significant amount of time and energy and angst and joy. But thank you for sharing some of the information about your family, your girls, your husband. That's really terrific. Work is part of your life.
It is.
And I think that's important for people to note. You mentioned that people and the connections that people have with work always being important. And you started off as an employment lawyer. Can you talk a little bit about that? You could have taken your legal skills in a lot of different directions. And what is it about employment law and leading the employment law function at PwC that led you to lead the HR function?
So first of all, I've always loved employment law. It's personal. It is everyday human interactions and human dynamics. And I've always been really fascinated by that. When I think about what 25 years as an employment lawyer did for me, and I loved practicing law every single day, it helped me to really understand the difference between impact and intent at scale. So we talk about impact versus intent all the time in terms of the way that we interact with one another every day. But when you think about organizations and policies and practices that organizations are practicing across 80,000 people or several 100,000 people, there is almost always a positive intent in connection with whatever we're doing in any of our organizations. But the impact of those policies isn't felt the same by every human being in the organization. And so practicing employment law, I started to really understand how important it is to evaluate impact as much as intent, if not more than intent, to understand whether we're creating an experience where all of our people can grow and can thrive. So when I was asked to step into this role, it was a no-brainer for me. It is one of the hardest jobs I have ever done.
Why is it so
Because
difficult?
there are so many things that are outside of your control. I entered into the space during the midst of the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
And
So
then-
you know how to operate in periods of massive change, and
Massive
stress,
change.
and
Absolutely.
recovery.
Stress and recovery. We then went into the Great Resignation. And now here we are in this age of AI, and we have not seen a digital transformation, a workforce transformation as fast-paced as the one we're seeing now ever, at least not during my lifetime and probably not in several others. And so to be in a space where you are thinking every day about how to create an experience where all of your people can grow and can thrive and can do amazing work for their clients, but also have space and time to do amazing things in their communities and in their families. And then to have all of these external factors, whether it is something as tragic and unifying as a pandemic or something that is as exhilarating as a digital transformation, they impact the people experience every day. So it is certainly one of the hardest roles that I have had, but by far one of the most rewarding.
And you've used words, I think, that are very important. But here, it's the impact of what you're saying that's critically important. Can you share with us how you have seen or experienced yourself positive intent that didn't have the impact that you had hoped?
I think we see it all the time, right? I think even if we look at some of the digital transformation that we're living through right now, we know that there will be some negative downstreams of this transformation, the transition that it is having on the workforce, what it is doing to jobs that exist today that people have worked their whole lives to master certain crafts and skills. And now these folks are going to have to be, we're all going to have to be retooled and retrained in a way to live in this new dynamic. It's exciting because there are opportunities that will exist.
I think you used the word exhilarating.
Yes.
When you first mentioned AI.
It
That's
really
interesting.
is. It is both exhilarating and scary, right?
Yes.
Because I think it's exhilarating that there are jobs that will exist 3 years from now that none of us could even imagine today. So you have young people sitting on college campuses right now, studying, dedicating themselves to learning a particular skill. They're going to be excited. They're going to get their first job. And then 3 years from now, that job is going to be completely different. That's incredibly scary. But it also means that we are about to produce the most agile workforce that we have ever seen. Right? And that to me is exhilarating. We are now sitting in the chairs, and you all do this with your mentorship and your development, where we get to say, how do we train this next generation of talent? How do we help them be agile? How do we help them use human skills to amplify and accelerate the enabling work that this technology is going to do for them? I mean, it's going to be a really amazing thing to watch play out over the next few years. And I think the work that we do, the work that you do, will be at the center of helping to make this all successful.
I absolutely agree. And I think it is crystal clear how much of a priority that is for you personally, and then also for PwC. I have loved reading your newsletter, The Human Advantage, and I think it crystallizes and summarizes a lot of the themes that you're referencing here. Could you share more about that and some of the key themes that you tend to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we did really early on is we were thinking about what is the strategy we need for our people to be successful in this age of AI. And we talked about the skills. We talked about getting technology in the hands of our people. We went out very early and created our own.
Talking about we. Who are you talking about?
I'm sorry, PwC.
But within the organization.
Everyone.
That's so important.
Everyone. I mean, if our leadership team came together very early on and said, we need to make sure that all of our people have a level of fluency with this technology, that they are comfortable using it. Depending on their roles, they may need to be comfortable selling it. Depending on their roles, they may need to be comfortable building it. But at a baseline, every PwCer has to have some AI level of fluency. And so we are going to do that by democratizing the technology. So we created Chat PwC with OpenAI in the very early days. And we said the very first thing we're going to do is get this technology in the hands of our people. And then we're going to figure out how to teach them, how to upskill them. And you're right, Edith, this isn't human capital led, but it also isn't just tech led. It is truly
partnership,
bringing together the human capital people who are going to help enable the transformation, the technologists who are going to build the tools, the business people who are going to reimagine how work gets done and how to embed these tools in the flow of work, the finance people who are going to figure out how we pay for these tools, because I don't think we know the full cost of AI just yet. And so when you think about something that is truly having a transformational impact across every aspect of an organization, AI is doing just that. But then to your question around human skills, we very quickly clued in on the fact that this could not just be a tech transformation. This is truly a talent transformation. And if you are talking about talent, then you are inherently talking about human beings and you're talking about human skills. And when we talk about human skills, we are talking about the ingenuity, the empathy, the critical thinking, the judgment, the pause, which I talk about a lot, that enables our people to bring the context of their experience, the context of their human ingenuity, combine that with the technology, and they will be completely unstoppable. And so for us, we have said there are 15 human skills, there are 15 AI skills that we believe are critical to teach our people. And every learning program that we have at PwC will teach both AI skills and human skills together.
How did you determine what those 15 skills are for PwC?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I have an incredible talented team of learning professionals who are so astute at not only how to build great curriculum, but how to deliver it. But they worked alongside our AI experts in the firm to think about what these skills might be. We talked to people in academia. We talked to people who are doing great and innovative work in this space. We spoke to futurists who are constantly thinking about the skills to come. And through all of that work, we sort of coalesced around, and by the way, it could be 15, it could be 100, but we sort of coalesced around, there are 15 human skills that we think will set our people apart. We are a people business. This is what we do. And there are 15 AI skills like AI human collaboration, like that is a skill. Skills like building AI simulations, that is a skill. So we think prompting, everyone thinks prompting, everyone thinks, oh, we need to make sure human beings are bringing empathy and critical judgment. But are we teaching human beings about the importance of storytelling? Because how do you translate these incredible outputs from the technology if you can't address the audience in the room, if you can't modify your audience because you're reading the room? Our people need to be great storytellers. They need to be people who are pausing and evaluating the outputs of the work so that they can apply it, one, to their clients and making sure that we are addressing the needs that our clients have as opposed to the needs that maybe we think they have or maybe AI thinks they have, because AI can certainly put ideas in our heads. But we also need to make sure that we're evaluating the efficacy of the work. And so we are still ultimately responsible
going back to impact
for our outputs. Yeah. Exactly.
That was actually a question I had as you were describing this. What does measurement look like for this transformation?
In our mind, there are a couple of different things that we are measuring. So let's talk about building AI fluency. We need our people to be fluent. And that means you need people in these tools every single day. As we are changing and transforming delivery models and looking at different ways that we operate from an end-to-end perspective, can we get our people very quickly upskilled to use those tools? Are we quantifying and then cataloging skills? So, I mean, we talk a lot in the human capital space about being skills first. AI is actually accelerating that process because we have to work alongside the delivery teams to evaluate the skills that our people may not get in the way that we all learn them. We learn so many skills just because you get reps, right? You do something 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, you become an expert in that thing. You may not get to do that thing in the age of AI. There is technology that can probably do that repeatable task. So you have delivery teams, you have technologists, you have human capital people all working side by side to quantify and identify the skills that are being lost and then to teach them and to figure out how to teach those skills. And that's where the apprenticeship model starts to matter even more than before.
Building on that, what does this mean for people who are just starting their careers and for junior people? Because they are going to, it's one thing to evaluate an Excel output that Claude helped you put together or that PwC helped you put together, knowing where to sense check, what might look wrong, where the holes could be. It's another thing to do that if, you've been working for 3 months and, you're trying to figure out how to build a model yourself. So I'm curious. I'm curious how you all are approaching that.
We are hyper-focused on our first-year associates. If you think about an area where organizations can invest and make big bets quickly, it's on those first-year associates. So we launched the Learning Collective, which is the way that we learn across the firm. One of the programs under the Learning Collective is Associate Discovery. And Associate Discovery is doing exactly what you've just identified, Jordan. It is taking all of our first-year associates, and we hire thousands of students off college campuses every year. It is bringing them into an immersive experience. They go to an AI and a human immersion session from the day that they join the firm. And what they're going to get in that session is a really deep understanding of AI, how it is used in our environment. They've certainly used it in an academic environment, but how is it used in our environment? How is it used ethically in our environment? How are we protective of our client data in our environment? So there's a really important transition in terms of how to use the technology in a different way. They will also learn human skills and why these human skills are so important. They are working with client simulations and they are building agents. And they are building them on the ground. And they build the agents, and then they're standing up and presenting that agent. So you want to talk about the importance of storytelling. And then they're getting feedback, another really important human skill. So then they go away and they build something. And then the apprenticeship happens, because then we dispatch them back to their teams. And they're then working with their colleagues, many of whom are senior to them. And they're saying, let me tell you what I just learned. We hypercharge our first-year associates with this learning. And over the course of their first 2.5 years with the firm, they will come back together for more immersive learning. And so we need to make sure that they not only have the right blend of technical AI human skills, but that they have the right learning agility, that they have the right level of intellectual curiosity to be deployed where they're most needed.
What's really important about what you're saying is that PwC has not taken a casual approach to any of this.
No.
It is very, very intentional. And you've done the work to understand that there is science and expertise in learning, how people learn, and what results in a high-performing individual at PwC. And starting out the description with a focus on mentorship, that's more important now than it ever has been before. I think there's a little bit of a fantasy out there that says, oh, back in the day, 5 years ago, senior people worked alongside junior people and they built the models together. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. The best senior people would probably look at the results of the model and work with the person on their team to say, well, what do you think? So the science is really important here. And Jordan, perhaps I could ask you a question about the science that's gone into Medley and how we approach and think about creating environments where we are very strategic about building the skills that are important in those 15 human skills that Yolanda mentioned.
Edith, when we started Medley, we knew how important these human skills were. I would say that's been core to our DNA pretty much since day one. And that, I think, was one of the reasons that drew us to focusing on group-based learning and coaching, because it's that exciting space to practice and engage with others and give feedback and see what happens and all of those things. And so it's been interesting over the past 2-3 years to see how critical and valuable these skills are, especially in this new moment. And so, what we've found, and in terms of what we've been continuing to work on, is how we can start to create spaces that help measure and help create structured ways for people to develop these skills. It's been incredibly rewarding, I have to say, over the past couple of years to see the importance of our work continue to expand, and also see just generally how powerful group-based and cohort-based programming can be. And that's actually been something that we've had such a pleasure getting to work on together with you and the PwC team, is being able to power a cohort-based learning program. And I know you all do a lot of learning. You described your associates program and how it's really a tremendous cohort. But would love to hear anything else, Yolanda, you can share around how important the power of sort of learning via connectivity or learning via cohorts is to PwC's learning ethos.
No, I could not agree with you more, and I love the work that we've been able to do with you. The thing that's become really clear to us, particularly as we've been super focused on these human skills, is the importance of that connection and that community. Sort of building off some of what we've talked with you all about, one of the cornerstones of our associate discovery program is learning together in a community. And so we made a decision this year that new associates in advisory would only be hired into 13 offices because we want them to have the opportunity to grow and to learn in a cohort, in a community. It also fits really well with our apprenticeship model. We believe that every PwCer should be a teacher and a learner, and you should interchange those roles on any given day. And we're trying to reinforce this. We're asking people, what did you teach today? What did you learn today? Because we want to make sure that our people understand that their growth, both as an individual and as a community, depends on our spending time together. So we could not agree more and have been really excited in having the ability to work with you all on some of this, because having these people together, having people grow together, having people learn together is such a cornerstone of our apprenticeship culture.
PwC is a partnership.
It is.
And
it's a true partnership.
It's a true partnership. And so given that, how do you engage with your partners on being a critical component of the transformation work that needs to be done? And what do you think are the biggest challenges leading as a partner in such an important organization like PwC?
Yeah, the wonderful thing about our partnership is it is a true partnership. You have 4,000 owner-operators of the U.S. firm. And every partner has a say and has to be brought along the journey of this transformation. Now, the wonderful thing is that our partners are out in the field every day. They are out in the market. They are with their clients. They are watching transformations happen.
They're often advising on these transformations.
They are leading, absolutely. They are leading and advising transformations. And it creates a culture and an environment where we are more open to those transformations internally. We are client zero 90% of the time. And so as we go out to help our clients transform, we have to be willing to do it to ourselves. But we learn a lot in that process. We don't have a command and control environment. So change management becomes critical. Oftentimes, if transformation isn't going well, it's usually because we aren't managing the change well. So we're constantly learning and reassessing, and we fall sometimes for sure. And we're constantly learning and reassessing and doing it better the next time. But change management is so critical for us. Anticipating and appreciating how much change an organization can absorb at once.
Very important point, Yolanda.
So important and so hard when change is moving at scale at the pace in which it's moving right now. But we still have to pause. We still have to reflect. We still have to anticipate and evaluate how much change we can sustain at once, and then prioritize based on that estimation. And that's what our leadership team spends a lot of time doing as we all serve our clients today and prepare for what our clients will need tomorrow. And that's a difficult space to be in, and that's what we've asked of all of our partners, and they are rising to the challenge.
That's amazing. We connected a couple of weeks ago. We were, excited for this conversation. You shared something that really jumped out to me. You said, I actually have a vibe coding session with my team this afternoon.
I did.
And how did that go, first off? And also, I would love to hear more about how you're modeling AI fluency and actively taking it on for your team and for the organization.
Absolutely. It was one of these great things. My team and I were sitting together in Atlanta, and we were talking about workforce transformation.
Yep.
And we were talking about the model that we need to build internally. We need this very dynamic model that can take inputs, that can be inputs driven, that can be outputs driven, that can take in all of the different elements of a workforce strategy to help us understand the impact of digital transformation, the impact that has on revenue and all of our goals. But not just our goals from a financial perspective, where if you think about workforce planning of yesterday, you might take all of these financial inputs and then just determine the size and shape of your workforce. workforce. Today, we're saying it's not just that. It's about what are our people doing at each level? What is the ultimate shape of this workforce? And what does this workforce planning then translate to for hiring goals, for the universities that we're focused on, for the areas like engineers where we needed to build and deliver new career paths for how we learn differently. So we're sitting around and we're having this conversation, and we were talking about what budget we need to go out and build this model. And then we just said, we've got a white paper and it's amazing, but it's not translating. Why can't we actually spend a day vibe coding and build it ourselves? And let's build the prototype ourselves, because then we really understand. Now, look, we're not engineers. So all of the integrations that have to happen with all of your different
I'm sure your engineering
systems.
colleagues are very thrilled to hear you admit that.
Yes, we are not engineers. And by the way, we have some really incredible technologists who are working side by side with us. And I should say, there is a technologist who sits on my human capital leadership team, so that in this moment, he was also able to say, oh, we can set this up next week. We had the best time. And so we fed our white paper into the system that we use, and we spent time on the phone, and everyone started building their own models, and then we started showing them, and then we started explaining them, and then we started taking the best. And at the end of the day, 3 or 4 people went away with the technologists and the best of what we have, and they have built an incredible prototype. And then we are now gearing up now to share this prototype with our leaders. But it is truly taking that moment to say, if we are going to be an AI first, an AI native organization, then in everything we do, we must stop and say, can AI help me with this?
That takes time, though.
It does.
And you and your partners are operating an extraordinary business 24/7. It probably feels like 24/7. How do you balance that? The fact that you have to take a pause and say, should we think about this differently given the rapid advancement of AI versus getting the job done today? How do you,
in the way that we know to do it, right?
And the way that we know to do it.
Yeah.
That's
the challenge.
I was eventually going to get to the question. You got there.
No, that's the challenge. I remember maybe 6 or 9 months ago, I was sitting with our chief technology officer, Matt Wood, and I was struggling with sort of how to incorporate AI just into my daily life. And he said, put ChatGPT on your phone, open it every day, and use it as your thought partner. And anytime you are starting to ask yourself a question, you're starting to think, I need to do this, I need to think about this, use it as a thought partner. It is not judgmental, and just start typing. Just start free flowing and typing. And it is that when I talk about democratizing the tools, it is so critical that we do that, because now we actually think we saved a ton of time in that vibe coding session. Like taking an hour out of our week to run that session was so much faster, because what we've created is a prototype. So now when our engineers have to build this for us and build it with all the right integrations and make sure that it works and decide what technology is best to build it on, they have a pretty decent prototype of how we think this thing should look and work.
Saves a lot of time.
At the end. So we've saved a ton of time by investing in that hour. And the other thing that I have tried to do in my personal life from a professional perspective is think about how AI can make my week better. Yeah. So going into Copilot and saying, prepare me for my week is incredible. I do it every Sunday. And it pulls data together. If someone sends me a 20-page document, I am putting that document into AI. I am asking it to pull out the salient points. I'm asking it the questions that it makes AI think. Like, what questions does this document bring to mind for you that helps me think about how I'm evaluating? What insights can I draw from this? How does this connect to my work? How does this compare to what others in the external market are saying about this same topic? Go search that out for me. But it helps you prepare in a completely different way. And then you evaluate the outputs. Our instinct is to do it in the way we've always done it. If we actually invest the hour to work with AI, to teach the technology what we're looking for, it will pay dividends, far into the future.
What's next? What's exciting for you as you look ahead? I would say 5 years, but these days, 6 months, 1 year.
Seriously,
2 years.
yeah, no, it is not 5 years. I am excited about where we're going on learning.
Yeah.
I think there is this tremendous opportunity for us to help our people build skills in a different way. I think AI will just facilitate and enable learning in a way that we haven't seen before, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for our people to learn to navigate this new world where they are sort of working alongside this agentic, I hate to call it an agentic workforce because they're not human beings, but they're working alongside these tools and capabilities that are going to enable them to do their work differently.
It gets so much smarter, much faster. It gets
so smart, so fast. But what it also does is it frees us up to do the things that human beings are uniquely capable of doing. And so I'm excited to watch our people go on this journey and to go on it with them, because that's the beautiful thing about a technology transformation is no one of us is further along than the next. And so we're all going on this journey together.
So as the Chief People Officer of PwC, in 2 or 3 years, what would you like to say you've accomplished with all of your colleagues on your team in the transformation of the way you think about people?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think if we look out 2 or 3 years from now and we have enabled our workforce to be agile and ready and deployable where we need them, if we have done that while maintaining a culture of trust and care and transparency, then we will have delivered something really special. And transparency is important because the truth of the matter is we don't know all the answers today. I could not sit here today and tell you exactly what my workforce will look like in 3 years. I can tell you they'll be ready and we'll get them there. And that means we need to be really transparent with our people around where we're going, bring them on the change journey, let them know where we're uncertain, and let them know why we're making certain changes. To do that, our people need to trust us. They need to trust us to go on this journey. And to do that, our people need to know we care about them. So care, trust, and transparency are really important in our culture. And I think organizations like ours are going to be so focused on the transformation we're driving, both from a technical perspective and from a human perspective. But if we lose sight of culture and the importance of culture, we will look up and not recognize ourselves in 3 years. And that would be really unfortunate.
Looking ahead, would also love to hear about some of the big risks that you see.
Oh, there's so many. So huge areas of potential risk for us. How will the regulatory environment take shape around AI? How do we anticipate and learn about the cost of AI? How do we keep our cultures alive and vibrant and motivated? How do we keep our people motivated? We are still cultivating environments where our people can be their very best. We need to make sure that they know they can do that in the age of AI because we are going to invest in them. We're going to invest in their skills. And how do you make sure that you don't leave people behind?
So important. Talk about that a little bit and some of the things that you all have been doing to ensure that everyone is part of this journey.
And that's, you've said it, Edith, that's exactly what we've done. We have given our people the tools, and we will continue to give them the know-how and the upskilling to go on this journey with us. But make no mistake, every individual has to choose to go on this journey. And I think some of the harder things that are being said out loud is those who don't go on this journey will have a very difficult time in the future. And so we want to make sure that our people are not left behind. We have said to our people time and again, we will invest in you. We will invest in your development. We truly believe we are the world's premier developer of talent, and we will do that for our people. But they have to invest. They have to be intellectually curious. They have to lean in. They have to invest in their own development. And as long as they do, I think we're all going to be okay. But there is some real hard truths around people who aren't willing to make that investment. And so I think we owe that. The other thing I think we owe collectively is to figure out how to make sure we're bringing society along. One of the things that I worry about is not the people of PwC. I think we have...
Because if you get to PwC, you've had some things go your way.
Well, you've had some great training.
Yes, you've had great experiences.
And we're going to invest in them.
Yes.
We are going to invest in them. I worry about members of our society who are not getting access, the same level of access, either to the tools or to the upskilling. And I do think as we think about ways of upskilling and impacting society is something we're all thinking about. We launched the Human Skills Project.
Yes, I was going to ask about that.
Super exciting initiative. And a part of it is we've said to PwCers, not only are we investing in you from a human skills perspective, but we want to give you the tools to go out and teach human skills in the world. So we've committed to investing 1 million hours to reach 250,000 learners to teach human skills in society. And we are working with some incredible nonprofits and helping to build out learnings. We are helping to deliver those learnings. We build in a human skills project into all of our formal learnings so that as our people are learning, they're also investing in the communities around them. And we're really, really excited to watch this come to life over the next 3 years.
It's amazing. And it's bringing that apprenticeship model to life too, right?
I learn, I teach.
It's not just internal, it's also external.
You are absolutely right.
So you mentioned context and the fact that people come to work with the context of their life experiences. And for sure, over the last years, there's been a lot of pressures in society that will impact people differently.
Yes.
How do you make space for that in a time where it seems more complicated to do so?
That's such an important question. When we think about our ability to serve our clients well, when we think about the ability to serve our communities well, we know that in order to do that, we need to have the very best people. And the very best people for us are people who bring a wealth of diverse life experiences to the table. So first, we need to attract the most incredible and diverse talent that we can. The other thing that we need to do is make sure that we're cultivating an environment where all of our people can thrive.
Yes.
And that is something that is core to our talent management. And that where we need to upskill our people, we are meeting them where they are, whether it's because there are new technologies or whether it's because they come from an academic background or a professional background that is different and they're making a career transition and they need to learn in a different way. Whatever it is, we need to make sure that we are creating the spaces for people to grow and be successful. It is as fundamental as that in our world. And I think if we stay true to that core commitment, the rest of the noise doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Yolanda, thank you so much for sharing about your personal journey and also your professional journey at PwC as well. I'm leaving this feeling very inspired. It's clear, PwC has 80,000 people, but yet the agility that you're describing, the fact that you yourself was, leading a vibe coding session, gives me a lot of optimism for what's possible.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Yolanda.
Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Thanks again.